want to know what I wish? I wish I got to spend more time in the Voya X Mossa 128 and test it out even further. There are people I know that have had it for weeks, and there's somebody I know that's had it for months, and they get to do all this great testing on it. I didn't get to do that. I got it out 3 times, in each time about 10 minutes. Here's going to be one of the times right here. Let's take a look, and I'll speed through this. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing. The first time I took it out is when I got a call from Mariner Sales saying they had the future of kayak fishing in their shop, and they wanted me to come out and take a look at it. Told me I wouldn't be able to get to demo it that day, but I'd get to look at it and do some filming on it. Little did I know when I got there, I got to meet the whole engineer crew behind the Voya X. Man, some amazing people, and little did I know I was going to get to take it out that day. Wasn't prepared, but I got to take it out for about 10-15 minutes. It was amazing. The second time I got to take it out is when a Mariner Sales pro staff had it. And I called Mariner Sales, say, hey, look, I didn't really get a good test the first time because I wasn't prepared. Can I take it out again? And I met up with their pro staff and got it out for another 10 minutes or so. Right now, imagine I'm taking it out, but I'm not getting it out the way I fish it. Right, I'm not being able to get it out and have it loaded up with the gear I fish in, fish the conditions I fish in, and things of that nature. Now, the third time I got to take it out is when Mariner Sales was having a demo day. And I went out to help Mariner Sales with the demo day because that's the type of person I am. And they had it there, and I took it out for the third time, once again for about 10 minutes. So that doesn't really give me all the information I need for myself, or even all the information I need to give you guys on how it performs. So I will say, for the 3 times I had it out, it was amazing. It's everything I thought it would be and more, right? But I didn't have it that long to do real comparisons or real life scenarios with that kayak. So I didn't get that opportunity. But I have something that the people who've had it for months, I have something over them that they don't have, right? I might not get to have tested this long term, I might not have had it for weeks or months and get to keep continually testing it and fishing out of it the way I want to fish out of it. No, I didn't get that. But you know what I do have? I have probably more experience in different kayaks than the rest of them combined to compare it to. Just to kind of give you some ideas, let's take a look. Now, these are some of the kayaks I've had. Not all of them, and some of these pictures are the same kayak. These are in no particular order, but let's take a look at my kayaks that I've had. We'll start right here. And that's not the first one I've had, but that's the Old Town 120 PDL. Great kayak, and there's some things I want you to notice. So you'll know it's me. There's my Jeep Wrangler. You'll see this Jeep Wrangler in a bunch. And keep an eye on this trailer. I end up letting one of my subscribers from my old channel, Robert Winus, he won this trailer, but not this one, but I finished building it up. And you'll see that this trailer's had a whole lot of builds. But let's take a look at some of the other kayaks. So I've had the 120, Old Town 120 PDL. Here's another closer look at it. There's me with it. Same kayak. I even had a boat. Through this time, I bought a bass tracker. There's the bass tracker on the back of my Jeep. That's when I picked it up. I bought it pre-owned. I hated fishing out of a boat. Went back to a kayak really soon. There's a pair of Big Water 132s, and if you look underneath, there's a pair of Vibe Cuberas. One set's mine, one set's my girlfriend's. So some Big Water 132s. There's another look, and if you look here, there's a Perception Pescador Pro right here on the right side too. So same kayaks. My black Ford truck, my F-150, I missed that truck. There's another view with all the kayaks, the Vibes, the Big Water 132s, and the Pescador Pro. That was a paddle kayak. I had a couple paddle kayaks, you'll see. Another shot, my Jeep Wrangler. Oh, my old Jeep Wrangler. Different trailer. You'll notice I had a different trailer to it this time. So I went through some different trailers. That's me putting the Big Water 132 to work. Look at that fish right there. Okay, church, my F-150 and the Big Water 132s. We're going to go fishing after church. There's my girlfriend's Hobie Lynx, and I even fished off a paddleboard. All right, I got that boat paddleboard from Forrest Green. He owned No Bad Days Kayak, a great guy. Sad the store shut down. There's me at Lackland Air Force Base. I miss this truck the most. It's painted like the Texas flag. You can't see it. That's my jacked up Dodge 2500. But that's a Diablo Amigo right there. I love that kayak. That's a great river kayak, but it doesn't compare to the Voya X. There's another Diablo Amigo. I've owned a couple of them. This one's red. Obviously, you can see this one's red, but I owned another Diablo Amigo. There's me on a Diablo Amigo. These things were so freaking stable. I almost forgot about this one. That's a feel-free kayak. I hated that kayak. I don't care about the wheel and the keel. That was a terrible kayak. That's a better picture of the feel-free right there. Terrible kayak. Oh, yeah. The Hammerhead whale shark or whatever it was called. Funny thing about this is the day I'm picking it up from No Bad Days Kayak. Bought it brand new, didn't get it out in the water yet. This is the day I'm going to take it out on the water. Going to go fish a tournament. Once again, my black Ford F-150, missed that truck. It broke down the first day I had it on the water. The pedals start grinding, the gears broke in it. Took it back and exchanged it for another kayak. But that was a bad experience. This is my first ever fishing kayak. Heritage Angler 14. This thing was fast. Extremely fast. But as you can see, it really didn't have a lot for it. You know, it was really, I think, 30 inches wide. Not a lot of place to store anything, and it really wasn't a very comfortable seat. I was living in an apartment at the time, didn't have any place to store it, so I stored it in my apartment. Now this is going to take y'all back. This, after that Heritage 14, I knew I wanted a more stable kayak, so I got this at Academy. It was a Heritage Osprey, right? Believe it or not, this is a swivel seat. It locked in a whole bunch of spots, but this is the first time I've seen a swivel seat. It was swivel 360 degrees and lock in about 8 different spots. This kayak was a pain in the butt to paddle. It was super wide and super slow. Not a good kayak, and none of the hatches, none of them were waterproof or even water resistant. That's me, and I don't even remember what kayak that was. It was another kayak, but there I am. Once again, I had a whole bunch of kayaks. There I am at church, because church is important. With that kayak, probably before I before I got rid of that one. And there, once again, there's my truck painted like the Texas flag. There's me on, I think this is the Lightning kayak from Lightning Kayaks. That was a decent kayak for the price. Right there's me. That's the Native. The day the Native broke down on me, I think. I think that's what that one is. I'm not really sure what that kayak is, but there I am with another kayak. That's the Lightning kayak with my grandson on the front. You look at me crushing it, killing a fish, catching a fish. That's the Lightning kayak right there. Once again, not a bad kayak. Robert Fields, I think that's the guy that was pushing him. And that's the Lightning kayak right there. It's a good looking kayak. It wasn't terrible. The seat wasn't comfortable. The rails they put in, the accessory tracks, let me rephrase that, were plastic, and it broke the first day. They replaced it for me real quick without any issues, but they had cheap plastic, really cheap plastic gear tracks. That's me on my Hobie Lynx, putting the Hobie Lynx to work, catching fish. Once again, putting that Hobie Lynx to work. That's a redfish right there. Just killing them. That's the Hobie Lynx. I'm launching my papaya Hobie Lynx. I do say papaya because if you look here, this is my blue Hobie Lynx. Not really a big fish, but I'm still catching fish. That's a bigger fish than that same blue Hobie Lynx I had. I really love that color blue. And the Hobie Lynx was a good vessel. Super nice. But you had to add these H rails right here. If you didn't add the H rails, it was terrible. So you had to have the H rails. Once again, catching fish on that Hobie Lynx. There's my papaya Hobie Lynx, kind of a way I rigged it up for fishing. There's my girlfriend with her Hobie Lynx in the bottom and my Hobie Lynx on top. Take a look at the trailer. That's a different trailer build. I'm on that caravan trailer. Our Hobie Lynxes and my mountain bike on the back. That's the kayak I just picked up. That's the Native Hammer. Great kayak, and that's my newest trailer. This is the Native Slayer. And the funny thing about the Native Slayer is it also broke down the first day I took it out. I bought it from ACK. I added the Boondocks rudder. Didn't even get it out. This is all rigged. I was just showing you how I rigged it. The first day I took it out, the drive failed on this one. So I've had two kayaks that on the first days out in the water, drives failed. I was so disappointed. Now, that's the Native Titan 12.5X. I actually like this kayak. If you complain about the weight, then you obviously probably don't have a trailer or a truck. The only issue I had with this one really is I hated the center where the drive went up and down. The way it was bungeed and all that was kind of silly. Didn't like that. That's the Native Hammer back on my Ford F-150. Missed that Ford truck. Native Hammer. I'm sorry, that's the Native Titan X again. That's me catching fish. Titan X was reeling in some nice bass. Right there, that's the Berkeley Stunner in its mouth. That's a good jerkbait. Whoa. Went way too many. Once again, that's the 12.5 Native Titan X. I love that seat. Super comfortable. Same seat I have on the Hammer right now. Different color on the material, but the seat's the same. That was me testing out the stability on the Titan X, and man, it took a lot to flip it. You have to want to flip that kayak for it to flip. That's it's a different one right there, but you can see I'm supporting Mariner Sales. That's a different 132 PDL. I've had a couple of the same color. Once again, I use my 360 camera when I was doing some fish releases. I'd push it over to the side, and you kind of see you're like right here. That's where the camera boom was. But if I push it over to the side, you can read the Mariner Sales logo on my kayak I put on there. Once again, Mariner Sales, that 132 on PDL. 132 PDLs, a pair of them, I believe. Once again, my mountain bike in the back. That is my Hobie Outback. The latest Outback I just sold recently, so I could pick up something new. That's my old Hobie Outback. I like this one. This one was camouflage in color. I think this was a 2022, 2023. That trailer I was talking about on that trailer build, this is that same trailer still with the Hobie Outback on top. That's the same trailer build. If you look here, I got a door that goes in and bolts in here, keeps all this gear secure. That was a cool trailer build. That I'll show you the way Robert ended up winning it. But that's the trailer build right there. Same trailer. That's my Jeep. Still my Jeep. The old Jeep. I got a new Jeep now. That's my old Jeep still. With the Hobie Outback. I love that camel color. Same trailer. As you can see, Cyber Yacker here. A little bit more work to the trailer in. The same Hobie Outback. Hobie Outback bringing in fish. My other Hobie Outback, I forgot that I even had this orange Outback. Couldn't have had it very long, and that's obviously out in the lake, rigged for fishing, getting ready to do some fishing. That's it in my garage. There's my black F-150. So that's the orange or whatever papaya Outback. The papaya on that versus the papaya on the Lynx were two different papayas. Once again, my yellow or saltgrass, seagrass, whatever they call it, Outback. The Outback putting in work, getting some big old fish. There's my papaya Lynx, and there's her Hobie Lynx. She still has a Hobie Lynx. There's my black F-150 I miss. All right, if you look here, Mariner Sails. And there's my Jeep Wrangler, Mariner Sails. But that's another Hobie Outback. That's the trailer, one of the trailer builds I was talking about. That's when we bought a pair of Outbacks from Mariner Sails. One for me, one for my girlfriend. There's our PAs. Some of our PAs. I had the 14 right here. You can see where it says Cyber Yak or Adventures right there. That's my old channel. New channel, but spelt different, but same. I had the 14. She had the 12 off to the other side. There's me on the 14 putting in work, catching fish. There's my 14 rigged, ready to hit the water. The PA-14. That's my PA-14 in camouflage color. So I had a bunch of PA-14s, as you can tell. Missed the truck, but my PA-14 in camouflage. Love that one. That's the camouflage PA-14 putting in work, catching fish. That's what I do. Now this is my PA-14 360 XR, right? This is probably what everybody wants to say is the closest comparison to the Voya X. It's not even close. The Hobie, if you look right here, it's got two handles, one for the rudder and one for the fins. It's not the same. It's a lot more complicated to use. But it does catch fish, catches a big old fish. The 360 is nowhere close to the 360 on the Voya X. The Voya X 360 is one knob, spins everything. Much better turning radius on the Mossa 128. You can't even compare it. There's literally no comparison. The Mossa 128 is going to be the best thing on the water. That's the same Hobie PA-14 360 XR, whatever they called it, all rigged up with my fish finder and everything. I miss my fish finder too. There's another picture of our PAs, my 14, her 12 in the dune. That's the day we bought them from Mariner Sails. That is Mariner Sails in the background right there. It's so sad that they're closing. All right, that's me with my PA-14. She still had the Outback at the time. All right, that's our Outbacks at that time. If you look here, man, we got our pair of PA-14s on the ground right here. Right, you see them right there. Whoops. I've got my 14, her 12, and then we got our Outbacks right here. So man, we were filling up the garage with Hobies for sure. There's my 360 XR. There's her Lynx. Once again, my mountain bike. I missed a mountain bike. There's my PA-14 in the camouflage color. I had a couple of them. That's the PA-14 putting in work. Y'all say I can't catch fish? Y'all silly. Look at that. I don't even remember what kayak that is, but it catches fish. Oh, this is the part of remember the trailer I said keep an eye on it because the build changes a whole lot. That's part of the change right there. And it's got the Pescador Pro 120 on top paddle kayak. And there's a better look at that Pescador Pro right there. Another look at it. Another look at the trailer build in the back. That's another build I did in that trailer, man. That was a Harbor Freight folding trailer. I paid for like $500 for it. I bought it brand new, and man, that thing was an amazing. It's still being used by my friend Robert. He's still using it, man. I hopefully I got the last build in here. All right, so there's another one of my Old Town 132s along with the Pescador Pro. Now this is not even the 132 PDL. This is the Predator. This is the one I had before, so you can see they're different. This is actually the Old Town Predator PDL, not the 132 Big Water. So they're different, same colors, same manufacturer, almost everything's the same, but that's a different kayak. Once again, that's the Predator on that trailer build, one of the trailer builds I had there. There's the Predator on one of the trailer builds with the Pescador Pro. The Predator with one of the trailer builds. PA-14 on one of the trailer builds. This is almost the final version of the trailer that Robert won, but there's my Jeep Wrangler. There's the Pro Angler 14. For a while, I put the runners at an angle so it was easier to unload this trailer. Once again, look at the trailer. There's kind of like the design on the trailer. Hobie PA-14, me out in the water. Right before I catch some fish, I'm sure. Once again, Mariner Sails. You can see I did a lot of business with Mariner Sails. A ton of business with them. There's my PA-14 along with the Pescador Pro. This is my Riptide. I had bought a Riptide. One of my friends was selling them. I bought that. It was a decent paddle kayak, but, you know, it was a paddle kayak and not a pedal kayak. But the Riptide would catch fish. There's another one of the trailer builds. Same trailer, different build for it. But this is my Old Town Top Water 106 PDL. So that was a smaller one. That was the 106. That was a fun little kayak too. White Jeep Wrangler right there. That's Slackland Air Force Base. White Jeep Wrangler. That's my Top Water 106. Same one. That's the pair of Vibe Kubaras we bought brand new. Paddle boards. So, man, I've had it all. And now, before the Vibe Kubaras, right, and this is by Vibe, they actually had the Vibe Maverick 120. Almost the same thing. I had a Maverick 122, and this is kind of the way I rigged it out while I was fishing with it. That was a fun kayak, but they really need to make it wider. I think this is what got Hobie to get into the idea of the Lynx. Right, I really think because this was out way before the Lynx was out. It's solid board, it's foam filled. You can't sink it. It just wasn't wide enough, really, in my opinion. I'm sure, but it was comfortable. You could sleep on it. Wide enough to sleep on if the fish ain't biting. And that's the last one. And I've even had more kayaks than that. Right, so if people want to say, "Oh, I want to compare it to a kayak," trust me, I can compare the Voyex Mossa 120 to about 50 different kayaks. And I think at the end of the day, Sinead O'Connor sums up the Mossa 128 the best. Take it away, Sinead.